All right. Yeah. So nice to be here at Benzinga, one of the best conferences in America. That's great to be here again. Well, this is Zoe. I'm going to interview Zoe here. Hello, Zoe. You want to start?
I'll start. Thanks for joining us, Mr. Belushi.
Yes, it's a pleasure.
Jim, we've been chasing magic since 2018. We've got harvest parties, dancing on stage at the Blues Brothers, fundraisers. We raised money for Johnny Wheel's new van, $70,000 for Last Prisoner Project, 3 seasons of growing Belushi. And I think it's safe to say that we're on a mission with God together.
Yes, on a mission from God. That's the greatest thing, yes.
And now here we are at the Benzinga Cannabis Capital Conference talking about the intricacies of cannabis cultivation and the challenges of running a legal operation. How many people here have seen Growing Belushi? Raise your hands, yeah.
Yeah, it shows for us, so I'm glad you saw it. Thank you.
Well, then most of us here are pretty familiar with your journey. So I think what I'd like to do is just dive right into what it's like to be a requested brand and supplier all across the country. I mean, you've gone from one farm in Southern Oregon to being available in 14 states across the country with more on the way.
I got to turn this off. Well, what it's like, it's been a great journey. As an actor, I had to ask myself one time, why am I doing this acting? And I finally realized I came down to the idea that the reason I act is to make people feel good, right? You come to the theater, you watch some comedy, that's Second City or Saturday Night Live or movies. People, you want them to leave the theater feeling good. Everybody struggles all day long just to maintain feeling all right. And I want to bump them up to feel good. And that's my passion, that's my purpose. And I realized that the switch into cannabis, it's not a switch actually, I still act, but adding on cannabis to my purpose, the purpose is the same. Cannabis makes people feel good, right? I mean, if you're not feeling well, it makes you feel good. If you're in pain, it makes you feel better. If you're in chemo and you can't eat, and you use a little cannabis that helps you eat, you feel better. If you're going to the Grateful Dead concert, you feel even better. So I feel like I am totally on purpose from actor to cannabis. And because of that, the passion is the same. I love what I do, and I love this industry. It's a little different than show business. I mean, show business, like I'm doing a movie next week, I start. They wanted me on Friday. The deal was done on Wednesday. And I went, wow, cannabis just does not work that way. Everything takes so long to get done in this industry. And I can't figure it out except for maybe people are scared or something. But when 2 people want to work together, you just make a deal. And let's go. So that's one of the challenges I feel is that things take a long time to get done.
Talk to me about genetics. I know you've been having fun with those over the last few years, and that's a big part of what you're doing right now.
Well, we do a little about genetics in the growing Belushi. We have the Captain Jack strain, which is it's not that high in THC, and it's not the prettiest plant because it's an old hash plant from the Kush Mountains. It's a landrace strain from Captain Jack, but it's got 5.2% terpenes in it, and 75% of that is myrcene. So you don't need a lot of THC. But this was Captain Jack was the genetic that Danny Aykroyd and some of the writers on Saturday Night Live used
The smell of SNL.
the smell of SNL. Yeah, they called it the smell of SNL because the hallway smelled. It was so cheesy, this shit, I gotta tell you. But it is a creative strain. I mean, Danny was pulling things out of space. I mean, literally Coneheads, you know. Coneheads, yeah. So we have that strain, which is really great. In the TV show, we went to Peru and searched out some Santa Marta Gold, some Mango Biche, Punta Rojos, and the Santa Marta Gold, surprised me when we tested it, it was actually 2-to-1. It was 2 CBD to 1 THC. It was like, no wonder when we smoked it in the 70s, it felt so good. It was already a 2-to-1, you know. And then now we made a deal with Mojave, who's got some unbelievable strains. We found in this season, we went and found it, sage, which we call Big Sur Holy Weed, which is a genetic that, you know, all that footage you see of people dancing and beating drums all night in the 60s and the 70s, that was what they were smoking, you know. It was that, the more of a true sativa, more of a fun party thing. And again, the THC values, unless augmented, you know, with hybriding, which is I'm not doing, is not the highest. But the terpene values, even in the sativa plant, are fantastic. So the entourage is beautiful. So we got other genetics also, but those are the 3 that come to mind right now.
I love that you're
And
bringing
then there's cherry pie.
the marriage counselor.
The marriage counselor. Yeah, I love this cherry pie. This is so groovy, this one. This is like, you know, it's like 20% THC, 3% terpenes. You know, I'm a lightweight, so I like this one. And he smoked this one and makes it just so fucking groovy, you know. It makes it cool. You're so cool that everything that your wife says sounds beautiful. Hey, baby, I didn't realize how smart you really are. Wow, you look so beautiful tonight. Is that you? Or, it's the cherry pie. Cherry pie talking. Yeah, I love the cherry pie. I mean, cherry pie is very common, but the one we have, for some reason, because I've had different cherry pies, is the one. It's got the right. That's the right one.
I like your cherry pie. So we're going to get a little serious for a moment here and talk about the challenges. The current economic climate is tough for many farmers. What are some of the biggest challenges you're facing right now?
Well, it's the same. It's the same challenge everybody's facing. You know, the price of the pound is going down. Oregon just sucks. It just sucks. We grow the greatest weed in Oregon, and you know, Northern California. They have great weed, beautiful growers. You know, some legacy growers that are growing stuff they've been growing forever with great terpene values, beautiful color, smells. But the market's oversaturated. The buyers are pounding everybody down, and it's hard to make any margin. You know, growing is very expensive. Like the guys were saying earlier, it's like, it's not only you got to put up everything, but you have to operate, and operations are expensive. And so the profit margins are really tough, and the buyers are getting even tougher. And yeah, I believe in being partners with each other, and we are partners. And I have some great partners, by the way. I have some of the best partners at Highway Horticulture in Michigan, SunMed in Maryland, you know, local roots in Massachusetts. These are guys that really keep their word, really believe in the plant, and know how to run an operation in a business. I'm really grateful for these men.
Just shout out to some of the partners in the room today. Thank you so much.
Yeah, they're beautiful people. But the challenges are the price. Yeah, it's money, man. It's the money. And, you know, I never really did it for the money. I was just hoping to break even. Break even is great for me because you know, Danny Aykroyd's already got his Ghostbusters money. I already got my TV money. I'm already sitting nice, you know. So what do you get involved in? You get involved in things that you believe in and have passion for. And I have passion for what this plant can bring to our community, what the healing values are around this plant. And that's my mission. You know, my mission from God is to make people feel good. And I'm tired of, you know, big pharma and food companies. I think food companies and big pharma are like hand in hand. But let's make processed foods. Everybody's going to have diabetes and heart attacks, so big pharma can sell a lot of, you know, opiates and prescription drugs. And we're over here on the outside going, you know, this isn't so bad for your body. You know, not really anybody died from it, you know. Now they're talking about, you know, I read the New York Times. Goddamn New York Times is really getting disappointing. They wrote a whole article about this challenge that cannabis has of people throwing up, right? What is it called?
CHS.
Yeah. And I'm reading this article and I'm going, you know, tequila makes me throw up. So does vodka, and so does any liquor, and so does cilantro, and so does bad chicken, and so does... What the fuck? People throw up. You want to go like, oh, this is what's bad about cannabis? Give me a fucking break. So they're really jumping on that when we already know, the government already knows that nicotine kills people, that alcohol contributes to so many deaths. Yet it's fine. Their taxation is different than ours. You know, nobody gets thrown in jail in those businesses. So it's, why are they picking on us? Leave us alone. We're peaceful people. We're trying to heal people. We're trying to help people. We're trying to have a nice time and feel good. So give me a break, New York Times. Let's do an article on, you know, on, what is that, fireballs. What is it, cinnamon bullshit drink? What is that?
Oh, I don't know. I stopped drinking that in college.
Yeah. Makes you sick. Puke on your boots, you know. So I'm sorry, I'm going off, aren't I?
It's all right. I think this is a nice time to seg into consumer preferences. I know that you've been trying new products, pulling back on certain products. Have you noticed any trends in consumer preferences, and how's that dictating? As for instance, I know you have this new live rosin product. It looks particularly delightful.
You know, every state is different, and every state has different kind of tastes, you know. It's like we have this brick hash that we've been releasing that Charlie and Vinny made at Local Roots in Massachusetts that is just killing it. It's just killing it. And we've introduced it in other states. But Oregon, not hash smokers. You know, they're a little more edible. And flour. I mean, really, everybody still likes flour. I mean, they go into those other areas, but flour is still the main one. I think the joints are doing really well. But I'm involved with vape pens, live resin, gummies, hashish. You know, I don't like messing with the dabs so much in the shatter because I think if you do too much of that, you might throw up.
For real. Let's talk about rescheduling. What do you think? I mean, there's a lot of upsides.
I've been so excited this year that rescheduling was going to happen, you know, that Biden is finally, you know, keeping his word. Took him 3 years, but, you know. And then when I really read about the steps that it has to go through to get approved, and now these 40,000 people that are going to be making comments about it, like, oh, I threw up, you know, and the hearings that they got to go through, it's starting to get scary that it's not going to happen for a while. And that's really disappointing to me. That really hurts us.
Well, I know you're really passionate about research and being able to...
Well, yeah, if it's rescheduled, I mean, you can reschedule it. Those fucking doctors at the VA can give these guys some cannabis. Instead of giving them jars of 600 Oxycontin to deal with their PTSD, they can give them some cannabis. We got 33,000 suicides of veterans a year. why aren't we taking care of these men? I mean, the sports world is starting to wake up a little bit. They're allowing these guys to use cannabis. But, you know, because of the schedule, these VA can't do anything about it, you know. So, yeah, the research, we do much more research. We can find out why, you know, Mrs. Smith is throwing up, you know. But, yeah, so it's important that this moves, you know, and it makes me nervous that it's not. It just makes me nervous that it's not.
Well, there's a lot of momentum right now. This is
There's momentum, but then, you know, what's going on with the election, you don't know what's going to happen there. And then Harris just bragged about how she put a lot of people in jail. Did you see that? I think I read it today.
No, I didn't see
One
that.
of her campaign things is like, I put a lot of people in jail, like I'm a Law and Order girl. And I went, yes, you did. You put in half the marijuana smokers in California in jail for your stats, girl. And you're not letting them go. Yeah, she arrested a lot of people. I'm not anti-Harris. I mean, you can still like someone and not like some of the things they do, right? But the irony is just pissing me off, right? I'm sorry.
It's all right.
I'm getting
That's
off
all right.
again.
So,
Amen, brother, yes! Come on, man, let these prisoners go. We're having conferences here. People are giving me joints. And there's guys in jail. Give me a break.
It doesn't make any sense.
No, it doesn't make any sense, and a lot of things don't make sense. You know, the schedule thing obviously doesn't make sense. We all know that. I'm not telling you something new.
What advice would you give to someone looking to start their own farm or enter the industry right now?
Oh, really simple. Don't do it. Don't fucking do it. Don't do it. Or don't do it. Or, I don't know, I wouldn't do it. No, it's the guys were talking earlier, you know, it costs a lot of money to set these things up. You have a beautiful facility that's built out, CO, you know, blowing through beautifully. The leaves are moving, great, you know, fertigation systems. And then you have to operate it. And the price of the pound is just plummeting. And so the only thing that's going to really make a difference, I believe, is brands that people trust. That's what's going to stick out in the end, because it always comes to brands. And that's why I believe in the Blues Brothers brand, because it has a simple thing, you know, it's mischievousness, you know, like the Blues Brothers. It's musical, which, you know, cannabis is as close to music as God. I mean, come on.
It's got heart.
It's got heart, which is the mission from God. It's got purpose. And so I think it's a natural brand for cannabis. But yeah, I wouldn't recommend it. And the only other thing I always give this advice to cultivators that are starting: don't be afraid to fire your grower. You know, these guys are like chefs. They got egos the size of the kitchen, you know. And don't be afraid to fire them.
Your team is important.
Yeah. Any questions? You want to go to questions, or you got another question?
Just one more quick question.
Yeah.
How do you maintain a positive outlook? What keeps your sense of humor intact through all the vicissitudes of this industry?
I smoke a little cherry pie. And they think everything everybody says is beautiful. I'll tell you really the truth of it is, and they touched on it, and that is the relationships. I mean, Greg, my CEO, I mean, I fucking love this guy. I just love our relationship. It's based in trust and honesty and strategies and talking, and the people. I went to Brian Schindler's thing last night, and I ran into so many people that I know from this industry that I just instantly smile and love when I see their faces. There's so many people in our industry. We see each other over and over, and It's the relationships. It's the relationships with my partners that keep me going. You know, because they struggle, I struggle. They have a little success, I have a little. And we're doing it together, so you don't feel alone out there. So I think that what gets me through the challenges are the partners, are the people. I mean, we are bred in a plant that is based in kindness, generosity, and healing. I mean, most of the people in our industry come from that heart. And when you see that in them, those are the partners that you want to be with.
That's one of the reasons why I love this industry too. It's there's something special and different there, and it is the people, and there's a sense of purpose that you don't always find in other places.
No, I mean, show business is, you have that on that scale. It used to be more that way in the 60s and the 70s when the creative people were really running the industry, and then the corporate people kind of came in and then started putting data together and EBITDAs and all that bullshit. And they started crowding the creative world. And the fight that business sense with creative is a struggle. And, I worry about that with our industry a little bit. But I think all the major players are beautiful people. I mean, Charlie and Ben and Sam and George, the Chicago guys that are like, they're like the forward and the center and the other forward going down scoring. They're leading our industry. They're doing great jobs. And there's so many people in our industry that I'm proud to know.
Thank you. And yes, we can open it up for questions.
Any questions?
Now. Anyone have any questions?
How should we deal with unlicensed operators? You mentioned prices falling in Oregon. The answer seems to be limited licenses. What should the enforcement mechanism be for unlicensed operators, so to say, for a polite term?
Well, I'm not a cop. I played a cop. It's their job, man. Yeah, they got to shut this shit down, man. They got to shut this shit down. I mean, I can't shut it down. For 2 years, I had the cartel next door to me in Oregon growing hemp, which was autoflower. I mean, they were walking around. They showed it. They let me see the gun,
Do you think that conflicts with legalization at all? The idea of using the cops to enforce?
To force illegal dispensaries and illegal grows? No, it's a protection of business.
Do you think there's another enforcement mechanism other than the criminal law? Is my point. That's really
I don't know. Do you?
Well, with other businesses, yeah, there's like a business infraction, for example.
Well, those are just meetings. We need people to go in and shut those fucking things down. Yeah.
Anyone else?
What, you all did the dabs this afternoon like me? What? Yes, sir.
That's good to see you again. I saw you in Berlin. To what extent is hemp-derived cannabinoids impacting your business? My economic forecast showed that the cannabinoid industry derived from hemp was $28 billion, but there wasn't a lot of crossover on the flower side. And I was just wondering what your perspective is.
Well, I'm a little, I'm not as knowledgeable as I'd like to be about it. I do not like the Delta 8 at all. I think it's a terrible product. I think the Delta 9 has been a little more sophisticated. That while that loophole's there, people are gonna, jump through that hole. And I've dabbled in some iced teas with a wonderful company, and I'm just dabbling in it just to kind of test it out. It was an excellent product, and they use excellent derivatives. And so it took me a year to make that deal. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of people making a lot of money on gas station, Delta 8 fucking up kids, So I feel a little weird about it. That answer your question? Okay.
Dennis?
Hey, thanks for doing this. So you mentioned you were down in Peru hunting for genetics. You're
Colombia.
You were in Albania at one point.
Oh, yeah, I was in Albania the last episode.
Fantastic episode. Do you see any really interesting opportunities in the international market?
I do. I really do. I really do. We're just over in Amsterdam with the wonderful folks at Village Farms that are very smart operators. I mean, probably the best operation I've seen. But, you know, they came from agriculture, so they understand how to cultivate in an economic way and still produce great flour. And we're exploring Amsterdam with possibilities of moving into other. I can't get specific about it, but yes, I do believe that there is a growth market there for sure. And Albania, you know, the prime minister is a friend of mine, and he asked me to come there to help him pass the law, and they passed it for medical marijuana, and I think I might get a license there and grow in Albania. So that would help deliver to, you know, that European market as it matures. Yeah. Yeah.
We have time for one, maybe two more questions.
Hello.
Hello. Do you have any new edible ideas coming out, and are you going to bring back the Blues Brothers ice cream?
The Blues Brothers ice cream one was a sad one to let go of. It was delicious. I had Guy Fieri on my TV show making it with me, and it was a great promotion for that brand. And unfortunately, that didn't work out. I'd love to bring it back, but to scale it is difficult. You know, you got to have freezers in dispensaries. You have to have freezers in trucks that are delivering it. So there was a lot of complication and challenges to it that can't be overcome, but it was a little too overwhelming for the gentleman I was doing it with.
As Jim mentioned a minute ago, he's got some infused iced teas coming out later this year.
Hybrid. Right.
Yeah, Hybrid Premium. So
Yeah.
keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, that's a Delta 9, yeah.
I think that's I think that's all we've got today. Thank you so much.
Anybody got one more question back there? I heard. See. Yeah. Jesus, I wish I could fucking hear you because you're saying nice things, kinda. What's that? I don't know, man. It started when I started acting, I guess. You know, when you see a huge crowd enjoy something that you do, and you're having an effect on people, you know, and same thing with cannabis. You can see how it's affecting people. You know, it's joyful. Look, joy comes from passion, and you got to step in 100%. I'm in 100. I'm growing it, you know. I'm mixing the nutrients, you know. I'm keeping the water at 62 degrees so the micronutrients are absorbing into the roots. I'm doing it all, you know. And I'm loving it, man. But I don't know. It's just fun. I'm trying to have fun. Right. Sophomore year in high school. Yeah, maybe it was freshman. Indiana ragweed, shitweed. You know, then that great Santa Marta Gold came out, and that's really... I got busted 3 times in Wheaton. You know, I was the crime rate in that fucking town. All their stats were based on me, you know. But, yeah, I got busted 3 times and didn't go to jail. So they helped me a lot, actually, those people. But yeah, that's when I did it. And acid. Did a little. That's when the doors of perception opened up, right? So. Oh yeah, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I wish you the best of luck navigating through this bullshit that we do. Don't get tired. Don't give up. Don't quit. Be brave. Thank you.